Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to your first time here. I'm May, and this is going to be my December wrap up, which feels so crazy to say. It is currently December 3rd. There's 22 days till Christmas, and I finished my first book last night, and I have read Good Spirits by B.K. Borison. I do have the special edition. I don't know why I showed you the back of the book. I do have the special edition, and it's beautiful. I'm giving this 5 stars, which should be no surprise to anyone. I really love this author. Everything they write, I eat up. I've never read anything by this author that I didn't love. And this one had me so emotional. So let me tell you what it's about. This is following the main character who has had a falling out with her mom and sister, and she currently works at an antique store that she took over for her aunt when her aunt passed away. And she's kind of just living like a very meh life. Like she kind of quit what she was doing and she's kind of just been trying to find her own way, but she really hasn't found her own way yet. Well, on, I believe it's December 1st, a ghost appears in her home and is like, hey, I'm your Christmas past and you have until Christmas Eve to figure out why you're a bad person. Like, I'm going to help you figure out why you're a bad person and what mistakes you've made, and then we can move past them, and then you'll get transferred over to Christmas present and then Christmas future. And it's supposed to be like a very quick ordeal. Like the guy says, like usually it only takes like 2 to 3 memories. Well, they end up spending way more time together than just that. And oddly enough, she doesn't seem like a bad person. Like she seems like a very, very good person who just chose herself. So the entire time that you're reading this, you're like, why does she need the ghost from the Christmas past? She's not like the Scrooge. She loves Christmas. She loves people. She loves animals. Like she generally seems like a good person. So this book is exploring why she might need the ghost of Christmas past to be helping her, and also why he was assigned to her and what their connection may be. And obviously it's a romance, so they're in love. They're in love. And I had a few theories as to why he was assigned to her and why she needed the ghost of Christmas past. And I was kind of treading a little bit close, but I didn't really get on it. And the ending made me so emotional. I was crying. This is such a good Christmas book. Honestly, I'm so glad that I started with this one. I started this one on December 1st. I was like, this is going to be my first Christmas themed book. And I'm so glad that I did because it has like the emotional, heartwarming vibes of Christmas, but also like smut and humor, and I don't know, like I really, really enjoyed it. It's not my favorite book by B.K. Borison, but I did really enjoy it, and I already know that there's a second one coming out that I think is Halloween based. I think there's like the holiday ones that are going to be coming out from now on, and I enjoyed. I think I still love Love Light Farms more. Love Light Farms was my first book by this author, and I don't think anything's ever going to really top it. Like, Love Light Farms being a Christmas tree romance, it's my favorite Christmas book of all time. And I just don't think this tops it. It's good. I'm giving it 5 stars. I loved it. I also had this be my last, I think this is my last 12 and 25. I think this is my last 25 in 2025. So I believe that I have now completed my 25 in 2025 challenge with this book. I'll have to double check myself, but I know this was on there. And since this is December now, I think I have slayed. Yes, I love the main characters. He's kind of like grumpy and she's kind of like nice. It's kind of like a grumpy sunshine trope going on, but it's also like they know each other somehow, and it's like a past lives romance. I don't know. There's not too much I can say without giving spoilers, but I really enjoyed it. I'll really recommend it for Christmas time. I have a friend that's going to be reading it this month. I can't wait to see what they think. And yes, this is my first read of December, and it's a 5 stars. So I think we are doing excellent so far. I do have a con this weekend, so I am trying to read a bunch because I don't know what my reading is going to be like when I'm away. I do already know what I'm going to be reading. I'm going to be reading The Right Move, which is book 2 in the Mile High series. That is one of the last series that I have to wrap up for 2025, and I'm starting the second one probably today, and I'm really excited. So I'll check back in when I have finished that book. Hi, it is after the con. It's been a few days because that's just how life's been lately. I'm here to talk about 2 books, and I'm going to give you my con haul. Not that anyone asked for the con haul, but I'm going to include it anyways because I got some fun stuff. While I was in Columbus for the con, I listened to the audiobook for the second book in the Mile High series called The Right Move, and I'm going to be giving it a 5 star. This book made me so emotional. Actually, a funny story. It is what made me realize that I can listen to a book at 3 times speed because I've never done that before. But one night I was like so tired, but I wanted to finish whatever part I was on. So I cranked that baby up to 3 times speed and was laying there. And I was like, oh my God, I'm actually understanding it. And then I read like 3 hours of reading in like 45 minutes, which sounds insane. And it was. But I got the concepts. Like, I know what was happening. It is such a fun book. If you don't know, the Mile High series is romance books that take place around sports. So the first one was a hockey romance. The second one was a basketball romance. I think the third one's a baseball. I think the fourth one's a woman in baseball. And the fifth one, I don't know what one that is. But the second one was following a basketball player. And that was my first basketball player romance. And it was so emotional and so much fun. Like, the things that he was doing for the main character before he had even admitted that he was in love with her, like, slight spoiler warning, but he bought them a home before they were even together, and he, like, paid for her fertility treatments before they were even together. And I know you might be thinking, like, oh, that's so weird, but they're in love, so it's, like, cute when you find out, because you find out, like, after they've already confessed their feelings, and he's like, surprise, I actually was so sure about us that I bought us a home for a family that we're gonna have together. And it's so cute and so wholesome. I don't have really any critiques about it. I enjoyed it. I don't know how much I enjoyed it compared to the first one, because, like, the first one I didn't give a 5-star because I think it was, like, one little thing that I can't even remember, but I think I enjoyed it more because I love the hockey romance side of it. But a basketball player is still hot, and the smut was entertaining. But my favorite part of this book was, like, the emotional connection to it that you get. Like, you really root for both characters and both of their storylines, and you're like, I really hope that things work out for them, even if it's individually. And I do think you kind of, like, get very easily attached to the characters, and I loved it. So I'll be giving it a 5-star, and I'll be starting the third one later on this month. And then I finished Holly, which is the 4th book in the Belladonna series. It is a Christmas novella, but my copy was 300 pages, and then I was wondering why it was 300 pages. It was 300 pages because there's artwork inside of it. So it is actually a novella, but there was artwork inside of it, so that made the book seem longer than what it actually was on the Kindle. Because when you came to an artwork and then you flip the page, it, like, jumped a bunch of pages. So I'm so sorry for all this mean shit I said to you about the length of that book, thinking that it was not actually a novella. I'm so sorry. It is actually a novella, and I loved it. We'll be giving it 5 stars. Same thing, like, very made me emotional as hell when I was reading it. The artwork in the book was so wholesome and cute, and, like, not just, like, was there for no reason. It, like, actually, like, was artwork around scenes in the book, and I thought it, like, brought to life some of the cuter and more wholesome scenes. And, you know, I'm not used to artwork in books, so, like, anytime I see that, it always wows me to see, like, what the characters look like, because if you don't know, I actually can't visualize characters in my head. There's a word for that, but, like, I can't visualize things in my head very well. So when I read a book, I'm reading it in blackness. Like, I don't know what characters look like. I don't know what they're supposed to look like until I see artwork, and then my brain can, like, remember that. But if I have to try to figure out what someone looks like based off a description, I really struggle with that. So getting artwork, I was, like, so impressed by that. It is the 4th book in the series, and it takes place around Christmas time, and they're trying to give the main character the most best wholesome Christmas of her life, because I can't tell you a whole lot because it is the last book in the series, but things have not been going well for those characters, and they deserve to have a little happy ending with a Christmas. And it's not just, like, random Christmas things. There is, like, a Christmas mystery with ghosts wrapped into it to make it, like, a bit entertaining and not just like, oh, it's Christmas time and we're in love. Like, there is, like, an actual plot to it, which I was not expecting, but it wraps everything up so nicely. And I was kind of emotional to say goodbye to these characters, but it's okay. They got their happy ending and they deserved it. And I really love Blythe. I did not expect to love Blythe as much as I did, but I love her. And I think it kind of gives you all the answers that you need, the answers that are important to the story. And some things are left unknown, but, like, that's kind of just life. We don't always learn everything that we're supposed to in the time that we're given. So I really recommend the Belladonna series. I think it's one of my favorite series of the year. And those are the two books that I read while I was away. And now I'm working my way through the next Bridgerton book, and I'll hopefully be talking about that in the next couple of days. It is the 10th, and I've only read 3 books, so I feel like I'm behind because I'm supposed to be reading 16. I only got 21 days left, but like, I'll be okay. I'll be okay. I will grind out if I need to. Rest assured, it will get done, even if I have to be reading like 200 pages a day. I can do it. I believe in myself. Now into the con haul, because by the time this comes out, I would have already shared it anywhere else, and you guys are just getting them like, if you're not in my Discord or you're not one of my friends and you come across this, you might just see it and think that I'm cool. So if you don't know, which you might not, I go to a con every December. I've been going for 3 years now. This might be my favorite year that I've gone. There was just so many good celebrities that were attending, and so many of them were celebrities that meant a lot to me. And I always meet a lot of celebrities. My one friend spends a lot of money on vendors. I'm always the opposite. Like, I spend all my money on celebrities and spend very little on vendors, but I did get some cool things. So I'm going to go a haul. I'm also going to show my pictures because, not to be full of myself, but like, they're really good. Let's start with the big thing. And the big thing is that I did get my book signed by another cast member. I got it signed by Jackson Rathbone at the very top. It says, "To May, much love." And it's like a little smiley face with vampire fangs. And it's really cute. I got Kellen to sign it last year. I'm slowly getting the cast to sign it every chance that I get. Peter was there and so was Ashley, but I chose not to meet them for reasons that you'll see. So that's the big thing. I did get my book signed. Second thing is I went to an exclusive screening of Twilight where the cast was there and they answered questions. And this is my badge from it. It was really, really cool. And it wasn't that expensive to attend either. I've seen Twilight a bunch of times, so I didn't even actually stay for the entire movie. I know that might be blasphemous. But I attended the Q&A. I watched like the first like 40 minutes of the movie. I just seen it recently. And I was like, my ADHD can't sit through a movie that I've already seen. But really, you're going for like the merch and being able to see the cast there and ask them questions. So like, I got my experience out of it. And then I did get 2 photo ops. So this is me and my friend Paris meeting the person who plays Ahsoka in Star Wars. And then this is me meeting the guy who plays Ezra in Star Wars. And then it's in here, I know it is. And then I met the man who plays Superman, his name is Tyler, and I got his autograph, and it says it says for May, I can't even read, for May, Tyler, Superman, and it's really fun. I met him twice. That's like part of the story. And now on to just some things that I bought in general. So I bought this Lightning McQueen print for my friend who loves Lightning McQueen. I got this Darth Maul duck print for free because my friend bought 2 other ones. I got this little Christmas card from Star Wars that I thought was super cute. I got this like fake money for my favorite character from Naruto. This is literally my husband. If you know me in real life, you know this. This is my husband. And then I got an Over the Garden Wall print, which is so fucking cute. I love this show. And then I got a Superman print that I was gonna get signed, but then I ended up not getting signed. Nothing against the artist. I just ended up getting a selfie with Tyler again instead of getting that signed. And the rest of this stuff is much smaller things. So for example, I got this little strawberry guy whose name is Toots. So cute. I got this Spirited Away like napkin to clean your glasses, a microfiber towel. And then I got this eyeshadow palette because I bought one last year and I loved it. And I've already wore it a couple different times. But the fucking, I'm not like a makeup person, but the glitter in this is literally insane. I like took a little bit and it was like plenty. And then I wore it to meet the Star Wars people and then to meet the Twilight people. So that was really fun. It came actually very much in handy. And then I bought this little store guide. It was a mystery box, and I ended up getting purple, and my friend switched me, and they like hold their hands, and if you have multiple, they'll hold the other people's hands. And they're so cute. My friend and I always get something matching from the con, and that just so happened to be the thing that we got that was matching that for this year. And then Toots came with a little strawberry pen. Oh, and then some of this is so much smaller things, but the store came with this little sticker of him holding the purple one, which is so funny because I had the purple one and then I gave it to Paris. So essentially, I'm holding Paris. I then got this magnetic Cult of the Lamb bookmark, and it's like glittery, and also it has his little bum in the back, her little bum in the back. And then I got this little sticker of a little strawberry guy. And then I got a Cult of the Lamb keychain, which I really am enjoying the look of. I think the rest of this is cards. Oh no, I remember now. We're almost done. And then I got this pen called Milky Tomato. I thought it was funny. And then I got this other really small over the garden wall print, which I think is adorable. And it says, "Not all who wander are lost." And I think it's really cute. I think that's the last of what I bought. I did not buy very much, guys. Like, truly, I spent most of my money on meeting celebrities. So those are the things that I bought from vendors. But it's so much fun to go to these things. I'll definitely be going to a con next year. I don't do very good at filming things. I've learned I'm not like a spend a day in life with me and actually film footage for things. I have ADHD and I just simply forget to film. Like, I had the plans of making like a little spin Galaxycon with me video. I forgot. So all you get is the haul and the photos, obviously. But I had so much fun. And I'll be going to, I think I'm going to go to a different con next year. I think we're going to be going to one in a different state. We're not too sure yet. There's just like a specific celebrity that we want to meet that hasn't come to this one that we're going to go like find where they're going. That's on Stalkerish. We're going to find the con they're attending and then attend it publicly. I'm not going to stalk and harass this person. But yeah, that's my haul and the 2 books that I read while I was last with you guys. There's 15 days until Christmas, and I am really excited. I'm about to be kicking off my 12 days of Streamus. And by the time you see this, it would already be over, so I'm not even going to promote it. But yeah, it's going to be a blast. Hi. It's actually been over a week since I last recorded anything. Here's the dealio. I've been reading. I've been reading a lot, but I'm currently in the middle of doing my 13 days of streaming because I screwed up the math. And I'm about halfway through, and I've been doing that every night, 13 days in a row. I still have to go for like another week. And so I'm kind of like just now finding the time to sit down to record. But I did the math a couple days ago, and I was like, oh, you have to read 244 pages a day to finish all these books. And I was like, okay, I need to lock in. Like, reading needs to be the priority, and I'll film whenever I get the chance. And I currently have the chance. So I think I've read 6 books since we last talked. Because I have been reading a lot to check, because I had quite the lofty last month of reading TBR, and I'm determined to complete them. So I'm gonna go over the 6 books that I read, and you might not hear from me for like another week because I still have to stream every night. Let me go over what you've missed so far. So I believe, if I did this right, I believe the last book I talked about was Holly. I have since then read all of the Bridgerton books, like book 6, book 7, book 8, and then the novella. I have to read Queen Charlotte, but Queen Charlotte, it's a maybe for this month. I got it from the library, and I don't technically count it as the last book in the series. I count it as a prequel. So if I don't get to it this month, I'm like, okay, I'll get to it next month. But technically, I have completed the main Bridgerton series. And then I read book 3 in the Windy City series, which is called Caught Up. And let's just go over each of them one by one. So When He Was Wicked is the Francesca's book, and it really surprises me because if you don't know, Francesca's story is getting switched in the show. Francesca's story is now going to be lesbian, and that is quite the change from the book, because in the book she is married to a man who passes away, and then she falls in love with another man, and they've made the choice to gender swap it for the show. And that won't be out for quite some time. Probably 3, 4, 5 years. It takes them a long time to make each season. And I think we still have 3 seasons to go before it's her turn. So I was very hesitant about this series. My expectations were very, very low, and this one took me by surprise. I love this one. This is probably my favorite female story of the series. It was just like so wholesome. Also, it was the smuttiest. I was listening to this as an audiobook and I had to turn it down because I felt weird reading it like during work hours. I had headphones on obviously and I work from home, but like so no one was hearing it but me, but I felt weird. I was like, "Oh, I feel inappropriate for some odd reason because the smut was smutting." Because again, Bridgerton books, like a lot of the smut is fade to black, and even when there is smut, it's told like an old timey word, so you don't get like a whole lot of you don't get a whole lot of details. There was details in this book. It was, I'm still blown away. And her whole storyline of like wanting kids but not being able to have kids and trying to make peace with that and trying to still be a good wife, and like she really struggles to like know what her place in the world is since she can't have kids. She's like, if I can't be a mother, like what's the point? Like she's trying to figure out what her purpose will be. And I loved it. I loved both main characters. I didn't give it a 5 star because it's not as good as Benedict's book, but for the female stories, it's my favorite. Even after reading all the other ones, this is still my favorite. It made me so deeply emotional, like to follow her whole story, and it was so intimate and explorative and communicative. It was so intimate. It was so intimate and communicative and explorative, and it just really, there was so much heart behind it. And I feel like some of the stories don't have the heart behind them. Sometimes it's just like sexual tension, sexual banter, romance, and this had the romance plus the heart behind it as well. And I just it makes me more mad that they made it lesbian in the show because I don't know how they're gonna do it on a good of a scale with the show, because now that they're a lesbian and lesbians can't have kids, like biologically they're gonna have to do like for a little what's it called, IVF or adoption. And in the book she is very specific about the fact that she does not want to do adoption or IVF. She's like, I want the kid to be from my own body with no help. Which IVF didn't exist back then, so the only option would have been for someone to carry the baby for her, and she was very much not for it, or to adopt a baby. And she was like, nope, it needs to be my baby, or it's not the point. So I don't know how they're gonna do that in the show now that she's gonna be a lesbian. I'm really worried. Also, the main male character has a ton of riz, and I really hope that the female love interest that they've changed to is ready to sell on that, because it is a huge part of the book. And if the riz is not there, I'm not gonna enjoy this season as much. So they have a lot that I'll be looking out for that one. And so after I finished When He Was Wicked, I finished Caught Up, which is the third book in the Windy City series, like I was saying. Oh, I gave When He Was Wicked a 4.5. I don't think I said that. And then I gave Caught Up a 5 star. This is probably my favorite out of the series. This one made me sob, and I cannot believe how much it made me sob. The last 50 pages were blurry. My sleeve of my shirt was soaked. This one hit me like a dump truck. Like, it literally had me shooketh and emotional for like the last 50, 60 pages. And I don't even like kids in books, but the kid in this book I was deeply attached to, and I was rooting for all of them. And I love it. I love it. I love it. And I think the other books in the series will have a hard time beating this one out for my favorite. I was texting my friend who was also a big fan of this one, and I was like, I cannot believe how much this hit me. So good. That one deserved the 5 star. So after Caught Up, I read It and His Kiss, which is Hyanthia. I can never remember how to say her name. Hyaciatha, whatever the hell that flower is pronounced. I personally did not enjoy this one as much. It kind of felt like a mystery book versus a romance book, because a lot of the plot takes around them trying to find these diamonds that someone's grandma left in a letter talking about in a journal, and they spend most of the plot trying to find those diamonds. So it felt more like a mystery than it did actual romance. And I just wasn't a huge fan of the main character. I think she's kind of annoying, actually. And maybe it's because in the show she's still a child, and I had a hard time imagining her as a fully grown adult having sex and getting married and stuff like that. It just really kind of was hard for me to connect with. But I give it 3.75. And, you know, it sucks, but I don't really have much else to say about that one because it just didn't feel like a romance book to me. It didn't feel like a Bridgerton book to me really at all, so it kind of really disappointed me. And then the last book that I read in the Bridgerton series was On the Way to the Wedding, which is Gregory Stories, and I'm giving it a 4-star because the very first half of the book felt very, very similar to book 2. There is 2 females in the story, and he's wanting both of them, but he's wanting one more than the other, one that he's not supposed to have, and he's like, I know I'm not supposed to want her, but I need her, and he's like, and it gives Anthony's story a lot, the first half of it, and then it very quickly becomes his very own story because he like crashes a wedding, he kidnaps the girl, like it very quickly becomes its own story in the second half, and it was chaotic and unhinged and had that Bridgerton vibe to it, definitely had the romance to it, and they have a ton of kids, a ton of kids, and I felt bad for the lady popping out that many kids. So it had the vibe of a Bridgerton book, but didn't stand enough on its own in the whole round of the series. So getting a 4-star for me, and then technically this isn't like a part of the series, like in a full-size book, but there is something called Violet and Bloom, which was featured in Happily Ever After, which is all of the second epilogues in the back of every single book. I waited to read them because I quickly noticed that they had spoilers in them. If you didn't wait to read them, like book 1 might mention a character who's marrying someone that you didn't even know about yet. So I waited until afterwards to read all the epilogues and then Violet's novella after I finished the book. And I'm giving it a 4-star. I mainly read this for Violet's novella, and to be honest, it made me really depressed. It made me extremely depressed, and like not even like a, oh my god, I love love. It was like a, damn, why did I make myself read this? Because we know that Edmund is dead. He dies in the first book. Like before the first book even happens, because he died when Anthony is pretty young. I mean like 17, 18 maybe. And there's quite a difference between the age gaps between the children. And he dies from a bee sting. So we know that they're dead. And I thought that the novella was going to take place after the last book of Gregory's book, so that we got to see Violet being happy and healthy and all that, and maybe find love somewhere else. It was really depressing to read. You got to read her meeting him as a child and then meeting again as older children, like older teenagers. You get to read his death scene when she finds him and almost miscarries. Then you get to read like the birth scene of her having Hyanthia, or whatever the fuck that flower name is called. And then it fast forwards to her being like 75 years old, being like, yeah, I never fell in love again because I didn't need it because I had my kids. And I was like, what the hell? Like, I would have loved to see more of her happy ending, like more of her being happy with her kids than what we got. It felt very skimmed over, very glossed over. Like some of the second epilogues were long, like 50, 60 pages. And I felt like the author kind of did Violet dirty, to be honest. Very, very dirty compared to some of the other second epilogues. But it's the end of a journey. I've been reading the series for over a year. I started last year, and I cannot believe I've read all of them, minus Queen Charlotte. I'll get to it, I promise. But to me, that's a prequel, and it's not, like, attached to, like, not attached to the main set of books that I just read. So to me, this series is done. And if I have time to get to Queen Charlotte, I definitely will be. I'll provide a little bit of an update. I have been reading my calendar Advent book, and I believe I just got to 50% yesterday, so I'm about 200 pages in, and so far it's about a 4-star. It's not wowing me, but it has the potential to wow me. Like, I still have 200 pages left, and I think there's a very good chance that it could take me by surprise. If it has the potential, it can do it. So I am nervous, but I have like 6 more days of reading, 7 more days of reading, whatever it may be. And then we're done with this. And I'm going to be starting a Cat Cafe Christmas book. And I think I still have 6 books after this to read. Fuck me. I still have 8 books to read. This is exhausting. I'm exhausted. Because it was like 17 books on my TBR for this month. And I think, technically it's 7.5 because I am halfway through this one. But I'm pushing through. 240 pages a day, I think I can do it as long as I stay on track and don't get too screwed up. Yeah, I've read 8 books for the month, and I have 8 left. So 16 books. 16 books for the month. And I have 12 days to read them. I'm going to do it, guys. I'm going to come back and tell you I've done it. I believe in myself. I believe in my ability to read a lot when I need to read a lot. I believe in my ability to lock in. So I'm going to lock in. So listen. I'm aware that I'm wearing the exact same sweater that I am in the last clip, but what if I told you it's been almost 10 days again? Reading is going, okay? I'm here to talk about 4 more books. It has been so hard to film. It's been so obsessionally hard to fucking film this month. I don't know what it is about the last 2 months, but it's been like near fucking impossible to find time to film. Like, I'm reading, I'm finding the time to read, but it's like with working and then holidays and then the streaming that I've been doing, I simply have not been able to like just sit down and just read. I did just finish my 12 days of streaming, which actually ended up being 13 because I don't know how to count. And I read a bunch. I read 4 books. I still have 3 books left to finish. This won't even be the last update of the month. I'll be back. So I did, after I finished that video, the last clip, I did go ahead and read Queen Charlotte, and I gave it 5 stars. I've just not been happy with my lighting, sorry. I know I was talking and then I stopped talking, but it's because my lighting is like genuinely pissing me the fuck off. And I just haven't been happy with it this whole time, but I have a hard time finding a solution because of like the setup of my room. And I'm going to try to rearrange my room and like in the next couple of weeks so that by the time I do, not the video that you're about to get, or this one, the next one, like hopefully my second video in January 2026, it's a whole new layout because this is actually genuinely pissing me the fuck off. Okay, so anyways, let's talk about the books. So Queen Charlotte, I gave it 5 stars, but I knew going into Queen Charlotte that I was going to love it. No questions asked. I watched the show and I fucking adored it. It was amazing start to finish. So I already knew going into the book that I was also probably going to love it, and I did. And I cried and I was so emotional because I knew everything that was coming, but then it was still hitting me so hard to have to read it again. And it makes me so emotional of a story. If you don't know, Queen Charlotte is following the queen and her meeting George and her husband George. They believe he had bipolar, but obviously mental illness wasn't talked about back then. So he'd have really bad episodes and then not remember the episodes. So they think that it was like bipolar tied with like something else. And then later on in life, he got dementia, I believe. I looked into it because I was just curious. They have no idea for sure what was wrong with him, but like, not wrong with him, but like what was he was suffering with. But they, like, he would get like really, not like angry, but like he would hear voices and he would hallucinate and he would like have mood swings and he'd be okay sometimes, then not okay other times. And there was just something that he was definitely going through, something that he was definitely suffering through, and they had no way of really helping him. And they actually torture him in the book, thinking that was what was gonna help him. And that's not how you help people with mental illness. So yeah, it's following her journey with him and their love story of how like she's trying to help his mental illness, and then she has to accept that there really isn't any help for his mental illness at this time, and she has to love him through it. And it's such a beautiful, tragic story, and it just really hit me in the fucking chest again, per usual. And then the second book I've read since then was Play Along, which is the 4th book in the Windy City series. I actually just finished the 5th one today, so I'll talk about both of them right now and then jump back to the other book that I read. But this is following Kennedy and Isaiah, and Isaiah has been obsessed with Kennedy for like 3 years. And one time they get drunk in Vegas and accidentally get married, and they're having like a fake marriage of convenience. But he's actually in love with her, but she swears that he's not in love with him. But then like plot twist, she's actually in love with him. And these are the sports romances I've been talking about. This isn't my favorite, and neither was the 5th one. It like made me emotional, but it also made me like happy to see like how their stories unfolded. And I think that every character got what they deserved. And I really appreciate like the anxiety and PTSD representation in this romance book. Not every romance book has mental health representation in them, so I do enjoy them when they do have it in there, especially if it's done right, and I think this was done very right. Isaiah's mom passed away in a storm when he was very young, and he is very frightened by storms in his adult life, to the point of like panic attacks and all that, and he has to work through those in the story, and he has the help of Kennedy. And then the 5th one is following Haley, I believe her name is, and Rio. It's either Haley or Hallie. I don't know how it's actually pronounced. But Haley and Rio knew each other as children, and then they had this big falling out because of their parents, and then they don't see each other for like 6 years after that. and then she moves in next door to him, and then she's the one working on his house renovations, and they end up reconnecting, and sparks are flying, and the truth's coming out, and it's an emotional story. But once again, nothing beats the fucking third one. The third one decimated me. The third one made me sob. I was texting my friend about how much I sobbed. So the third one is clearly my favorite. Fourth and fifth one, still very good. I ended up giving them all 5 stars. I think it's one of my favorite romance series ever. And I'll definitely be intrigued to see what else they write. The author just announced that they're going to be doing another set in this series, but it's like not like a direct series. It's like, I think like a spinoff of the new baseball leader and Monty, who thinks everyone thinks he's hot, and we're going to get one of his stories now. Blessed. I'm so excited for that book to come out, and I will be reading it in 2026 at some time. And then going back to the other book that I read, which was The Christmas Eve Love Story by Jenny Bird. If you follow me on Twitch, I have been reading this book for the 12 Days of Christmas, and I end up giving it 4 stars. I truthfully believe that if you did not read this as an Advent book, you would fucking hate it. And some people read it as an Advent book and still fucking hated it, which is okay. This story is very repetitive. You literally read someone go through Christmas Eve 12 times in a loop over and over again. Not much is changing. She's like trying to learn her way. And as someone that might not like repetitiveness, you would get very bored in this very quickly. My friend Allie was reading this with me, and she missed like 4 days and had to get caught up. And she's like, I think that ruined it for me, because reading 4 Christmas Eves back to back, like in the same sitting, was so fucking boring. So since it was an Advent and you had so many pages that you read per day, essentially a Christmas Eve a day, there's a bit of Christmas magic to it where you were like, oh, I wonder what Christmas Eve she'll have today. And you were like almost excited to see what her Christmas Eve entailed that day. And then it was like the next day you have the same thoughts, and then the next day. And I think I was excited to see her finally go into Christmas. And I thought it was very fun. I will say, it's meant to be a romance. I think the romance is the least fun part of it. And I know Allie also agreed with me. The main love interest is Brandon, and he's boring. I thought kind of like an overall love story where it was like romantic, platonic, found family, self-love. Like she was learning how to do a bunch of different kind of love and not just romantic loving. So I saw it more as like an overall love story, and I think that's why I enjoyed it more than Allie. Allie was like, I was fucking bored, and I actually actively hated every time that man was on my page, which is so valid. I think me shifting my mindset to she's self-loving, she's finding family in her neighbors, and she's finding, like, reuniting with a friend that she had a falling out with. I kind of was just really intrigued on that side of the love story, and I was seeing it kind of more as platonic love story and love in all its forms versus just a romance story. So I think if you saw it as just a romance story, you might be like, ugh, this is really boring. So Allie gave it 3 stars. I'm giving it 4 stars. But yes, I fully think that if you were reading this as a normal book and not as an Advent, you would have DNF'd. I probably would have DNF'd. I actually saw a TikTok where it was like, this is the worst Christmas book I've ever read in my life. I wouldn't go that far. I would not go that far. It's not my favorite Christmas book I've ever read, and nor do I think I'll read something by this author again. But I think for what it was, I think having an Advent book, which has never been done before, I think, in an adult setting, I thought it was so fascinating. And I thought the tie-in of like her being looped in Christmas Eve made the Advent calendar work. And that's what made the Advent calendar fun. It brought like some Christmas magic to it. But yes, I think it only works in this format, in my opinion. And I don't know if I'll do another Advent calendar, because as of right now, the only Advent book that I know of is the YA one that everyone hates, which is like she gets like a heart transplant and then she doesn't want to do anything to risk her heart going in and out. And then my friend Paris tried to read it and she was like, this is fucking horrific. So I don't think I'll be reading that unless some new ones come out, and then I might get my interest peaked. But I gave that one 4 stars. So I've given a lot of 5 stars this month. You'll get the final count after I finish these other 3 books. But yeah, this is like the catch up for after the holidays. It's currently the day after Christmas, and I finally have a chance to sit down and talk. So this is me talking with y'all, okay? I hope everyone had a very lovely Christmas, and I will be back in a couple of days to talk about the other 3 books that I hopefully finish. I'm hoping. I have to read like 300 pages a day to finish in time, and I'm doing it. I'm hoping. I'm praying. I'm crossing my fingers and my toes, and you'll find out with me in a couple of days. Hi, it is December 29th, and I am back to talk about some more books. More importantly, I've finally figured out my fucking lighting. Now that I've had some time off from streaming, I actually did some research into lighting, and it was not an issue with my light, it's how I had my light set up. Like, I had my light too close to my camera, and all I had to do was, like, put it like a 45-degree angle backwards and, like, a 48-degree angle, like, to the side. That way it was, like, angled up and away. And the weird glare is gone, the weird half my face being paler is gone, and it's not perfect because it's a $20 ring light, so it's not gonna be amazing quality like some people do, but I'm glad I fixed this, and I am hoping to fix my setup to where like my desk is where my couch is and my couch is where my desk is currently. That way in 2026, like in the latter part of 2026, well, that way, like in a couple of videos you might see my books actually behind in my videos. That's my goal, is like I want my books shelves to be behind my desk. That way I can like see them in my cameras for YouTube videos and Twitch streams. That's the plan. We'll see if that actually works out. But I'm obviously recording this segment before I do that. I will be doing if I am able to do it, you'll see it in the next clip. So you won't have to wait long to see if it works out. But I do have two books to talk about. I read these very quickly because they're not good. Not bad, just not good. 3 stars. Both of these are going to be 3 stars for me. The first one that I read was The Midnight Lie by Marie Wutskiski. I don't know how to say it. This one had a really lovely cover, and I was really excited for it. I had no connection to the plot, no connection to the characters. It is like an LGBT book, so that made me really excited, but then I felt like it wasn't even done the best of ways. I'm gonna be really honest. I remember very little of this book already, and I read this yesterday. I literally read this yesterday, and it's already emptied itself out of my brain. What I do remember is that they live like in a society where there's like really harsh rules on like lower income people. Like they're not allowed to like wear certain collars, they're not allowed to eat sweets. And like people that are in higher society have no rules. And essentially, like, people are, like, drinking blood as drugs. It's fucking weird, honestly. I can't even really tell you what happens. I won't be continuing the series. It's just, like, a middle-of-the-road book for me. I have a 3-star. I'm gonna be unhauling this. I really do think that me getting books from BAM is just not good. This is why, check this in another video, because the other one that I give 3 stars is also from BAM. I think they're on the BAM bargain section for a reason. And, you know, not everyone feels the same, but, like, maybe I should take that more into consideration instead of buying 20 to 30 books off of that damn bargain section. Like, maybe they're there because everyone thought they were shit. And this isn't shit, okay? It's not shit, and it is LGBTQIA. So if you want to give it a try, I say give it a try. You might like it more than I did. But yeah, I won't be continuing. I know there's 2 other books. There's 2 other books in the series. I'm unhauling it, taking it off of my TBR. Moving along. I know I don't have much to say on that one, but it just emptied itself out of my brain. That's when you really know that I didn't like it. Because for me to not remember a book means that, like, it did not stand out in any kind of way. Like, the plot was not original, the characters weren't original. There wasn't even something dumb for me to hate on. Like, this book was just nothing. This book I listened to at 3x time speed. I had it physical, didn't even listen to it as a physical. I actually didn't listen to the next book as physical either. I ended up just switching to audio. Because I was so over it. To be honest, I'm so over my 2025 TBR. I only have 1 book left on it. But I'm so ready to get my 2026 TBR started. And I think that's what's the problem is. It's like I'm ready for 2026 TBR, but I'm still in December 2025. And I'm like, can I just get to those books? Can I just get to them? And it's like, no, you have to finish out what you started. So it's like, I'm not slumping. I'm kind of just like pissed off that I can't get to that TBR faster. But I also like, I'm not rushing the year. Like I'm happy that it's still 2025 because the year did kind of go really, really fast. But yeah, it's like a very complicated feeling that I'm having with books right now. But yes, a 3-star. The second one that I'm here to talk about, I just finished, so I can say more about it. It's called The Grimoire of Grave Fates by like 18 different authors. This is a mystery. I think it's called an anthology. I can't say big words, y'all. But essentially, this is a mystery book told by 18 different authors. they all wrote one chapter about one character. So there's 18 different characters, and they only get the one chapter. You never hear from that character ever again. That was a very interesting concept, and that's what made me buy the book. I don't think the execution of it actually worked in its favor. I think it actually worked against it, because the whole concept of having 18 different people speaking in a book you would have thought that it would have been overwhelming. It was actually underwhelming, and also like a bit jarring at times, because you'd be reading this character and you get used to the writing style of that character, and then like the next chapter you'd be introduced to a new character, trying to learn about their story in like 20 pages, and then it was a new writing style because it was a different author, and I kind of felt passed around in a bad way, like a hot potato. The book itself it's interesting, so I did go ahead and finish it. I listened to it at 3 times speed as well. But it is following this professor who gets murdered at a magical academy. This magical academy has like multiple houses of like cups, swords, where they study different groups of magic. And this professor, no one liked. He was homophobic. He was racist. I'm honestly happy that he got murdered, to be honest. He gets murdered, and they're trying to solve the mystery. And each character thinks they have what it takes to solve the mystery, or think that they have the talent that it takes to solve the mystery, or some kind of information around it to solve the mystery. In reality, like, none of them have what it takes to solve the mystery, except for the last couple of chapters. So, like, you're really getting introduced to characters that have, like, no significance to the actual mystery. They're just, like, trying to be detective when they're not actually a detective. And I feel like that hurt the story, because you just were like, why should I care about this character? I don't get another point of view from this character in the entire book. And you don't really get any other, like, that you would get told these very traumatic stories of people being like, I don't want to go back home because my parents treat me horribly, or like my parents are against gay people. And then you would never get a follow-up about what their lives were like afterwards. The book just ends. And that was wild to, like, give such traumatic childhood stories and then, like, don't tell us how that child's doing after the story is over. Like, this should have been like an epilogue of like, here's what happened to each child. Because they're like 15, 16, I believe. I'm not sure. Actually, I'm not positive. Sorry. I'm actually not positive on their ages. But yeah, it's super, super weird style. Like, I didn't mind there being multiple point of views, but I think I was thinking that the point of views would, like, repeat. Like, you'd have 18 point of views, but the chapters would be smaller, and then, like, the 18 would get another chapter at another point. No, you get the one chapter from the one character in the entire book, and then it's a next character, and then it's a next character. So it's really hard to get attached to any of the characters. Like, I didn't care about any of them. I wasn't rooting for any of them. I wasn't invested in the character lines. I just wanted to know how this damn professor died, and he deserved it. Doesn't even matter how he died, because he definitely deserved it. I will say, this is small spoilers. There ended up being 2 people trying to kill the man, and they ended up killing him simultaneously and without realizing it. Like, I won't say any more in this in case you're curious of reading it, but like, I've never read a story where there was actually 2 murderers by accident who weren't working together. They didn't even know the other person was trying to kill the guy. Like, they thought they were the only ones trying to kill him, and they just, like, it's funny. That was funny to me, that they were, like, accidentally 2 murder suspects. Well, not even suspects. There was 2 murderers. But yeah, 3 stars. Like, not bad books. Unhauling both of them. Moving forward. I might drop these off at the free little library, because I don't even know if my friends will like these, because they're like, they're just like a little bit more niche books. And I just don't really think that any of my friends would be drawn to kind of these kinds of stories, especially like an anthology. Like, I know one of my friends was already telling me that they don't even like reading those. Like, they don't like reading books by multiple authors, and I think maybe I agree now. But yeah, I only have 1 book left in my 2025 TBR, and it is the Sunbearer Trials. I have left this book for last, because this is the one book that I think I might end up giving 5 stars out of this whole category of Bam Bargain sections, because I do really like Aiden Thomas. I love Cemetery Boys. This is like a fantasy. It looks really intriguing. It is gay, and I have high hopes for it. And this will be my last book of the year. I am going to try to listen to it both physically and audibly. Is that the word? I speak, but am I speaking properly? Probably not. Something that I've been learning is that you don't have to read a book in just one format. if you want to read it digitally via audiobook and a physical book at the same time, you absolutely can. Like, if you want to take turns, like what I've been doing is during the morning before I go to work, I'll read it physically, and during my lunch break, I'll read it physically. But if I want to read it while at work, I do it audibly. Like, is that the fucking word? I don't know why I'm having a hard time with that. Then if I want to read before bed, I read it on my Kindle. So technically, I read the same book, 3 different formats. And it just helps. Because sometimes I'll be like, oh, I want to read, but I don't want to read my physical book in the bed. Or if I want to read, but I don't want to read my audiobook, like, on my lunch break because I'm not doing anything, so it'll be hard to focus. Like, I'm really trying to tell myself it's okay. Like, if I gotta switch to the physical, if I gotta switch back to the audiobook, if I have to switch to the digital book to get it read, the important thing is that I'm reading. So you might hear me talk about that more often because I've done it the last 2 books. I did with these 2 books where I would read physically and then go digitally and then go to, like, the audiobooks throughout the days as I was reading them. That way they got read. And that's actually kind of really working for my ADHD brain. So we might also do it for this one. I'm supposed to read 210 pages, and I'm not supposed to start this until tomorrow, but I'm super slow at work, and I still have 4 hours left on my shift. So I might go ahead and start this because there's no harm in finishing my TBR early. Like, actually, I might prefer it to be done a little bit early because trying to read on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day might get a little finicky, especially trying to record the clips for this as well. So I might just go ahead and get a listen to it audibly, get a couple of chapters in before I get off work tonight, and then I could read a big portion of it tomorrow, because tomorrow is the day before New Year's Eve, and that's really the last day that I'm gonna have to read a lot. Because on New Year's Eve I have to work, and then I'm having a family thing, and then I'm having someone come over, so I'm gonna be booked and busy on New Year's Eve. So I really do think me trying to read this book today and tomorrow actually better. That's what I'm gonna aim to do. If not, finishing on the 31st is also fine. It might just have to be an audiobook while I'm cooking for dinner. But I hope everyone had a very lovely Christmas, and I can't wait for 2026. I'm nervous, but that TBR I'm so excited for. So many exciting books that I have to read finally in 2026. But yeah, this is my update on these 2 books, and I will check back in when I finish the Sunbearer Trials. This is also from the Bang Bargain. This is also from the Bang Bargain section, but I have high hopes for this. If this book is bad, I might pull off all of my Bam Bargain section books and just fucking unhaul them. Because this would be the last straw for me if this book is bad. So, I'll be back. Welcome to my new setup. It is a work in progress because I haven't gotten it all done. But the books are there. You can't see my entire bookshelf because they're really tall. But you get to see, like, the main points. You get to see, like, my special editions and my Shatter Me. Oh, I'm pretty long. Shatter Me, and I have my Twilight up there, my new special editions, and I have my cow friends all over. And yeah, I'm really excited. I am going to be putting, like, some huge stuffed animals around the floor, and, like, it'll be a work in progress, but I am very happy on how it ended up turning out. I think this is much better than looking at a door and, like, a big space. Like, yes, my old setup wasn't bad, but this feels more on point for BookTube. Like, I'm a booktuber. I should have books in my background, personally speaking. No one ever complained. And then, like, the lighting situation should be better here as well. It shouldn't be so much of a hassle. And yeah, you can see my sprite back there, but, like, ignore that. And I don't know. I'm really happy with how it turned out. And I got rid of a bunch of books, so some of my shelves are, like, empty looking, and I had to put, like, trinkets on them. Because I got rid of, like, 30 books. So don't mind me as my shelves don't look perfect or, like, that good for a while. Just to believe in April I'll be getting a big haul. Okay, so I am here to talk about the last 2 books that I read for December, and then we're going to go into my overall 2025 stats, my best books, my worst books, my favorite book of the year. So this is going to be the longest video ever, probably. That's dramatic of me. But let's finish out strong. And by strong, I mean not that strong, because I didn't actually love the book, which is disappointing. I don't have it anymore. Pretend this is the book. The Sunbearer Trials by Aiden Thomas. I'm giving it a 4-star, leaning more towards a 3.75. I'm kind of disappointed by this book. I had high expectations for it because I really love Cemetery Boys, and I've been really looking forward to reading something else by Hayden Thomas. This just had, like, a couple of things that I didn't think worked for it, First of all, it has mentions of social media in it, and they do call it different names, but like it's pretty much TikTok and Instagram, their form of it. And I do understand that that's called urban fantasy, and that's like a whole genre of books. I just don't personally like that in books. Like it kind of reminds me of how like Crescent City they had cell phones and stuff like that. I personally don't love that. Not my cup of tea. So that was like one thing against it, but I wasn't gonna DNF because I was like, I'm aware of this exists and this is fine. Something else is I think the writing style got a little mix matched. Like there was moments that felt fast paced, there was moments that felt slow, and it didn't have like an even tempo throughout the entire book, which kind of made it a bit difficult to read. The good thing about this book is the representation. The representation in this book is amazing. Absolutely amazing. The one of the gods is literally non-binary, like the main god soul is non-binary. Slay. And then the main character is trans. There's another character who's not sure if they're trans or non-binary, and someone's going through like transitioning. Like there's such good representation. There is such good representation in this book. I don't want to take away from that. I think that is the main reason why I'm giving it a 4 stars still, is because of how good the representation was and how well written it was. It wasn't just thrown in there. Like it was a crucial part of the story and the characters. And it wasn't just mentioned one time and then never mentioned again. It was mentioned several times throughout the story. Like for example, the main character, like I said, was trans, but he has wings. And when he first is transitioning, his wings still have the female collars, and then you later realize that his wings become the male collars. So it's like a big, huge, important moment in the story. That's slight spoilers. I'm so sorry. It's like, it's very minor, in the grand scheme of things. But it's just one example of how like a moment of representation unfolded to be a really prideful, emotional pride moment later on in the book. I just think I was wanting more. I think my expectations may have been too high for the book. I am going to continue the series. There's one more book. It's a duology. I don't know when. I don't have a particular date for it. I'm kind of in no rush. I do know that the sequel to Cemetery Boys is coming out this in September 2020. I do know the sequel to Cemetery Boys is coming out in 2026, and that's higher on my priority than Celestial Monsters, I think it's called. I don't know. I'll definitely get to them, and I definitely still love the author. I think this is just a miss for me because of it being an urban fantasy. I didn't know it was urban fantasy before I was going into it. But still recommend it. Still really amazing representation. And the author himself is a part of the LGBTQI community. So I think if you're looking for some of those books, his is a great choice. I think I just might like Cemetery Boys over this one. And then that was supposed to be my last book of the year / the month. But then my friend Allie, Mythic Melons, shout out to her. She doesn't even watch YouTube videos, but shout out to her anyways. She texted me like 2 weeks ago and was like, I just read the stupidest fucking smuts book and I think you should read it. And I was like, oh, I'm so booked and busy. I'm not going to have time. Well, I ended up speed demon reading the hell out of Sunbearer Trials yesterday. So I ended up having a free day to read this silly smut novella. Only 50 pages. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. So I did. So technically, my last book of the month / last book of the year is Frisky the Snowman. I'm not rating it because I don't have, it's only 50 pages. I typically don't rate books that short just like on their own because it's like not much to really judge it off. But this is a story about a girl who likes to stick carrots up inside of her, and one day, magically, the snowman becomes alive, and then she has sex with the snowman, and the snowman has a carrot for a private part, and it has a lot to do with carrots. If you like carrots, I would not read this book. I don't like carrots, so I had no issue reading the book, but definitely would make you hate carrots if you did like them. Carrots go into a lot of places they shouldn't go into. A lot of places. And there's somehow murder. Yeah, like 50 pages and somehow a lot happened in 50 pages, but still not gonna rate it. And yeah, it's just silly little thing that I'm finishing the year out with. I don't even know if I'd recommend it. Like, if you're wanting something silly and stupid for next year, maybe put it on your list. But I think Allie was just being like, yo, no, this is stupid. And if anyone else would want to read it, it would be like me. And she's so right. I would, in fact, love to read stupid smut. I don't even care if they're not good. I just want to read all the stupid smut out there so that I can laugh at how stupid they are. So if you ever have a recommendation of stupid smut that I should read, or you're wanting someone to read, send it my way. I probably won't say no. So that is the end of my wrap up. Now to the stats. We'll start with the December stats. In December, I read 16 books, 5,397 pages, and 23.75 hours of an audiobook. It looks like I mainly read romance. Whose surprise? My average rating was a 4.35. My average book length was 385 pages, and my average time to finish was 3 days. I read 12 romances and only 4 fantasies. That feels so weird. So weird. Let me go through my ratings for everything. I will let you guys know that I did end up unhauling all of the physical books that I read, other than Queen Charlotte, because obviously that was a library book, but The Grimoire of Grave Fates, Sunbearer Trials, and then whatever the hell that third one was called, they went into my unhaul pile. I think the BAM books, they're about to get kicked out for real. I'm not going to be buying any other books off the BAM bargain section unless they really, really speak to me. No more Blind Faith. I gotta stop. Just because they're on a bargain doesn't mean that I need them to be mine. So, let's go through my ratings. I gave Good Spirits by B.K. Borison a 5-star. I gave Right Move by Liz Tomerford 5 stars. I gave Holly by Adeline Grace 5 stars. I gave When He Was Wicked by Julia Quinn a 4.5. I gave It's in His Kiss by Julia Quinn a 3.75. Caught Up by Liz Tomerford a 5-star. On the Way to the Reading by Julia Quinn a 4-star. The Bridgertons Happily Ever After by Julia Quinn a 4-star. Queen Charlotte by Julia Quinn, the love of my fucking life, a 5-star. Play Along by Liz Tomerford, a 5-star. Christmas Eve Love Story, which was my advent calendar book, a 4-star. Rewind It Back by Liz Tomerford, a 5-star. And then I unfortunately ended the month with a lot of really low ratings. I gave Midnight Lie, The Grimoire of Grave Fates, The Sunbearer Trials, 3s. Technically, The Sunbearer Trials is a 4, but I'm leaning towards a 3.75. Oh, and then I DNF'd a Cat Cafe Christmas because it was just too fucking stupid for me to even try to get into. So that is the stats on December. My favorite book of December was really hard to pick because I had a lot of 5 stars. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I had 7 5 stars for the month of December, which is one hell of a way to end the year. But I did end up choosing Good Spirits as my favorite book of the month. It just really was so cute. I love B.K. Borison. It was exactly what I was hoping to get from it. My friend Allie read it and also really enjoyed it. It was lovely. It was like the perfect Christmas book to read for this season. I love the smut. I love the romance. I love the plot. It really was the best book that I read this month. I was able to finish 2 other series out, which was the Bridgerton 2 series and then the Windy City series. I keep calling it the Mile High series, but that's not what it's called. So overall, I'm really proud of what I was able to accomplish in December, which now brings me to, drumroll, the 2025 overall stats. Okay, so I'm not really making a video for this on its own, so you're kind of just going to get everything and anything in this video. Let's start with what's the most important. My favorite book of the year and my final number of books that I read. Are we ready? My favorite book of the year is Moon Soon Rising, which is the sequel to The Hurricane Wars. And I know that's going to come at such a surprise because Dungeon Crawler Carl was in the running and it beat out Dungeon Crawler Carl for several reasons. First of all, it's probably the best fantasy that I read the entire year. It's like in my review, I literally said I want to be put into a coma while I wait for the next book. Like I literally, like when you read my review of the book, or if you've heard me talk about the book, I was genuinely gagged and obsessed with it. I've recommended it so many times. I recommended it so many times, and I just haven't gotten over it. Like, I think I read it in February, and I'm still thinking about it now. And Dungeon Crawler Crawl's a little bit different because it's so hyped up that, like, I can't not think about it. Like, it's talked about so much. So, not that it's discrediting the book, but, like, I don't hear anyone else talk about Moonstone Rising. So the fact that I'm still thinking about Moonstone Rising goes to show that it's, like, living rent-free in my head. And I think for that reason, it's going to be my favorite book of the year over Dungeon Crawler Carl. And maybe that's a controversial pick. That's fine with me. It's my best book of the year. You can have your own best book of the year. My final count for 2025 is 193 books. I really hate that I ended on an odd number. But one of my goals for this year was not to push myself to read more just to hit a number. Would I have liked to have hit 200? Absolutely. I absolutely would have loved to. But last year, I ended up doing like 7, 8 small books just to be able to hit it. And I was like, I didn't even actually end up enjoying any of those books. And I was like, you know what? This year, 2025, I'm not going to do that. Whatever I end with is what I end with. So 193. I'm really proud of that. I ended up reading 63,000 pages and then over 107 hours in audiobooks. My longest streak was 141 days reading every single day. I ended up breaking it because I was like, you know what? As much as I love reading every day, I deserve breaks. Truly, I do. I ended up reading 112 romances, 93 fantasy, 71 YA, 47 gay, 35 contemporary, 23 horror, 16 dystopian, 14 historical, 13 thriller, 8 mystery, and then they all get like really short after that. So I would say that's like my top genres probably. I did complete my 25 in 2025. I can go over that as well in a second. My most read authors was, of course, the Shatter Me, because obviously I read all of them again. And then Julia Quinn because of Bridgerton, and then M.A. Wardell because I ended up falling in love with those books so very much. That person knows how to write gay romances. I will definitely be reading anything else they put out. And then it looks like my highest month of reading was in April with 28 books in April, which is literally insane. Literally insane. And the closest I got to that after that was in October with 21. I was averaging about 15 to 17 per month. And then in total, I ended up giving 69 5-star reviews, which I think is hilarious because 69 is just a funny number. Not to have potty humor, but I laugh at those jokes. Nice. And my yearly average review ended up being a 4.26, which I think is great. That's like still above 4. I'm being harsh where I need to be, but I'm not afraid to give a 5-star. And it looks like I ended up giving 39 4-stars. I gave a lot of 5-stars this year. I'm happy with that. That just means I'm finding more books that I enjoy. I know some people are like, oh, they have to work for it, blah, 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 blah. I honestly just think I've gotten so good at knowing what I like that I'm just able to pick out more 5-stars. I don't think that's a bad thing that I have more 5-stars than I did last year. I think it's actually an amazing thing. So yeah, I think those are like the most important stats that I could give for over 2025. And then just really quickly because I'm sure if someone's watching for the very first time, they might be a little bit curious as into what my 25 and 2025 books were. I will tell you them, and then my review for each one. I read Faithbreaker, which I ended up giving a 5-star. I read A Song of Ash and Moonlight. Which I ended up giving a 4-star. Foxglove, which I gave a 5-star. Echo Fort, which I gave a 4.25. A Steeping of Blood, which got a 5-star. Cursebound, which I gave a 5-star. I think I gave a lot of these 5-stars. I was doing a really good job picking books out. And then we went to Watch Me, which I did not enjoy as much, which got a 3.75 from me. a Curse Carved in Bone, which I gave a 5-star. Hot Wax, which was so disappointing to me, got a 3-star. Fearless, got a 5-star. First Time Color, got a 5-star. Go Luck Yourself, got a 5-star. Dark Air, got a 5-star. Holy shit! Where Did You Go, got a 5-star. The Theft of Sunlight, got a 5-star. Oh my god. Oh my god! The Right Move, got a 5-star. Dungeon Crawler Carl, got a 5-star. Good Spirits, got a 5-star. And then I ended up hating some of these books. Heartless by Elsie Silver which they ended up being problematic anyways, got a 4-star. Good thing I decided not to read those anymore. Lucy Score, Things We Hide from the Light, I ended up giving a 4-star. Accomplish the Villain, got a 5-star. Tempted by Blood got a 4-star. First Basket got a 5-star. Homebound got a 5-star. And then lastly but not leastly, Jesus, Teacher of the Year, which got a 4.75. Can we please talk about the fact that so many of those were 5 stars? I couldn't have fucking planned that better if I tried. Holy shit. That's amazing. That's amazing. I'm really proud of what I've accomplished. I'm sure there's someone out there who read more than me, maybe had more 5 stars, maybe critiqued better than I did. And I'm happy for them too. This is what I did, and I'm happy with what I did. And I'm hoping to accomplish even bigger and better and more 5-star things in 2026. I already have my TBR video out for 2026. I'll have it linked below. I will give you a hint. I'm reading Bride by Ali Hazelwood first. I spun my wheel today, and that's the book that I got. It is Moving with Friends episode 3, where my friend Paris gets to pick my entire month of reading, and she picked a lot of really gay or romancy books. So exciting, possibly terrifying. But thank you so much for watching. I cannot believe it is the end of 2025. I am filming this on the last day of the year. You'll be getting this a couple days after the new year, but just know that I really love everyone that's been watching me this year, and I can't wait for you to watch anything that I come out with in 2026. And I hope everyone reached their goal. If you didn't reach your goal, that's okay. There's always next year, and then there's always the year after that. It's okay to lower your goal if you need to, because reading is about having fun. Reading is not a competition. As long as you're having fun, that's all that matters. But seriously, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for being around. Bye. In the meantime, if you miss me, you can come watch me on Twitch, where I'll be live 3 times a week. Bye! Moving with May on Twitch. Come find me. Bye for real.